Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Diablo 3. My name is Wilfred. So in this episode, I'd like to show you how to do one of the easiest set dungeon for monk, the Sunwuko set dungeon. Now, two parts to this video. The first part is talk about the tips and trick, the gear and the sets I use, the skill I use. The second part of the video, I'd like to show you how I did it. All right, so now, in every given season, you have to conquer the set dungeon, master the set dungeon. There's no easy fit if you pick the wrong one. So what I would usually do is to leave the set dungeon, quest towards the end of the journey. And once I've collected all the sets, I'll pick one that's easiest to do. And in this case, for monk, is the Sunwuko set. Now, the Sunwuko set is built around the sweeping wind, and also there's a decoy that's spawned when you hit a target and so on. So I don't really see a decoy, but it's there somehow. And in this set dungeon, there's two things that's really important. One is maintaining the sweeping wind. That's easy if you have this belt item, because when you're not dealing any damage to any enemies, it will sort of like keep regenerating the sweeping wind. However, do keep in mind that when you hit any target, this kind of property will not proc, so you have to manually maintain the sweeping wind as well throughout the entire set dungeon. The second objective is a little bit annoying, but not at all impossible once you get the hang of it. You have to tag certain number of targets to be destroyed by your decoy. So now, my suggestion is that don't do any other damage kind of thing. You don't use the Tempest Rush, even it is the highest DPS. Just let the sweeping wind does its own thing, kill it off targets and so on. And all you need to do is just ensuring that you just keep tagging target. You don't need to kill them all, but you have to go and tag all of them until you've got enough numbers of it. So counterintuitive, I know, but your job is not to kill everything that you see, but to tag as many as possible, and then go back, trace back or dungeon to kill off anything that you would like to just finish off the dungeon. All right, so just remember that, keep the sweeping wind on and tag as many as possible once the timer starts. All right, so now that's part of the tips for you. Second part of it, that go without saying, you could have two sets to it. One is the Sunwuko set, the other one is the Captain Crimson set, because my personal experience is that keeping spirit for this build is kind of hard, and you don't really have any time to do anything to keep the spirit on. So I would just pick any skill runes to keep you to ensure that you have the spirit generation and so on. So I'll pick the Sunwuko set. I'll leave the legs kind of items, apart, and I'll use the Captain Crimson. Now, in order to make this set work, I will have to make sure that I've got the Ring of the Royal Grandeur, because that reduces the set number of item needed for the set bonus by 1. And to do that, you just need to do bounty for Act 1, and keep doing that, and you will eventually get the Ring of the Royal Grandeur. Right? Now, other than that, you don't really need anything else. I mean, the things about this bracer, seriously speaking, I hardly use any Tempest Rush, right? And Auxiliary Ring of the Swordier is good if you like to keep propping the Epiphany. I use a conversion element as well, just as it is. I mean, you don't have to. You can use any ring that you want. For the legendary gem, I use the Bane of the Powerful and the Good, because you could potentially use the Tempest Rush. But again, you just pick anything that you would like to do. Really, it doesn't really matter for this set dungeon. All right. The other thing is that you could use something like the if that anything that give you the Tempest Rush kind of like a buff, use it, because you do have to take down any elite if you want. But again, it's not really mandatory. Mantle of Channeling is good because it does give you increased damage as well as reduced damage. Again, it's not really that mandatory as per se. All right, cool. If you do have Everreal, it's good, but again, it's not really needed in a sense. And this is another one that you could consider as well, but hardly you use any Tempest Rush in your in your set dungeon, as you will see later on. Right. So gear wise, I think just to recap, you do need to have the full set of Sunwuko set. You prefer to have Captain Crimson as well, and then this one is pretty mandatory in terms of belt, but the rest of it you can pick anything that you like, and that works as well. Now skill wise, I would say that the most important thing is the sweeping wind, and I picked the inner storm mainly to gain spirit per second, because I do find that I run out of spirit quite a fair bit. Epiphany, no brainer, a lot of monk set does that. I use the desert shroud as well for my, just to reduce damage by 50% if I use Epiphany. I do use Dazzling Strike a lot, and I do advise you to use the Weight of the Failing Star because you do want to move around in this dungeon a little bit, because you need to backtrack a little bit on those targets that you do not kill but you tag as well. Mantra of Healing is good because it does give you the generation of spirit. Last but not the least, when it comes to passive skill, things like Beacon of Yita is good because it does reduce the cooldown. It does help you reduce the Dashing Strike as well as the Epiphany as well as cooldown. Harmony is what a lot of monk does that because it just helps you to be more durable. I like Exalted Soul, just give me additional spirit generation, as well as fleet-footed to give me the movement speed buff. But all in all, that is it. All right, cool. And I think just to recap again, for you all to pay attention to, pick a build that gives you the spirit generation. Be sure that you keep your sweeping wind on all the time and tag as many as possible. Backtrack if you need to kill any target. You have enough time to do that. Best of luck, and I think this is really the simplest of all the set dungeon for monk.
Are revealed. It cannot be done. Strength fails. What you ask is impossible. This fight is over. Breaks. The storm breaks. I will not do that. strike! I must wait. I don't have enough spirit. Not enough spirit. What you ask is impossible. It cannot be done. I will not do that.